Hi, welcome to my channel Movie Clips. And number one is Big Bang Theory.
Is it the waitress?
Penny? What about her? I've loved you since the moment we met, and I will keep loving you until the end of time. No, there's nothing going on between Penny and me. Do you remember what happened at that first Halloween party that you invited me to?
It was Halloween. I'm not perfect.
Yes, you are.
I was dressed as a cat, you were a hobbit.
We had our first kiss.
It was right there on that couch.
What about if you went out with me?
Was this supposed to be a date?
You mean like a date?
Not like a date. Have you ever heard of Schrodinger's cat?
It was an experiment designed by this guy named Schrodinger. And with the costumes and you.
What about me? I don't think Penny wants me to go.
It means I wish you weren't going.
Well, hey, don't worry. I'm sure there's someone out there who's just right for you. Merry Christmas. What's that?
It appears to be something preserved between two pieces of acrylic.
It's a snowflake from the North Pole.
Oh, it's a snowflake from the North Pole. Leonard gave it to me last year.
Look, Leonard, you have to know how much I care about you. It's just that I've said the L word too soon before and it didn't work out very well.
No, I understand. I got too intense, you had to back off.
Penny with a new guy, Trey awkward.
What did Sheldon say to you?
Not a lot, just that we always have the option of going back to being friends.
Is that what you want?
And if things don't go well with Leonard, I risk losing a really good friend.
Be friends, you and me.
Oh, sure. I love you, Penny.
I love you.
I love you too.
You are the one I'm with. You know I love you. I still got one of your inhalers.
I can't believe you kept this.
Yeah, I was gonna throw it away, but I just couldn't.
I can't believe you saved all this stuff.
Of course I did. It's you.
No, that's the first time you ever said that you love me.
I don't know what to say.
Don't say anything.
Oh my God. Happy birthday anyways.
Look at me, dancing with the prettiest girl at the prom. I always imagined having kids,
I know you did.
but I've imagined having a lot of things that I'm never gonna get.
I screwed up. Leonard's a great guy. Never should have broken up with him.
But I also have a lot that I never thought I'd have. Like you.
Does that mean the relationship is over?
I don't know. I've dated 4 different women since we broke up, and I didn't tell any of them that I loved them and wanted to have their babies.
I said, oh, Penny, and right where she was supposed to say, oh, Stuart, she said, your name.
But if someday you decide you want to get married, you have to propose to me.
Leonard Hofstetter, will you marry me?
Girls like Penny never end up with guys who own time machines. Will you marry me?
Oh my God, yes. We're engaged and have nothing in common, and it scares me.
How about we stop being so scared of losing each other and just be together? You have me.
Right. I do have you. I finally realized I don't need to be famous or have some big career to be happy.
Then what do you need?
You stupid Pop-Tart!
Marriage is scary. You're scared, I'm scared, but it doesn't make me not want to do it. It just makes me want to hold your hand and do it with you. You said you want to get married.
Vegas isn't that far away. Also, how incredibly happy you make me. Thank you for marrying me.
I love you.
I love you too.
The Big Bang Theory. Okay, it's a very good comedy. At the same time, it has a love angle. Okay, and it is about 2 physicists, Leonard and Sheldon. Okay, they both are self-professed nerds, and they have they're brilliant. They're brilliant physicists working at Caltech, Pasadena, California. They are colleagues and best friends and roommates also. Although they have all the capabilities of knowing all the worldly things and how the world works, the quantum physics, but they have very hard difficulty in understanding women or living in that world actually. and especially when dealing with girls, it's been very, very difficult. That's when a girl by name Penny enters into their life as a neighbor. Okay, and when she comes, then she ignites the flame. Penny is the one who actually ignites that spark in them. Okay, so that's how this series. And okay, here we go with another series called Friends. 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 There are 6 friends about which this whole series is about. There are 6 friends in New York, and as they navigate through their life, learn to live the up and downs, and they learn to grow as they approach towards the 3rd decade of their life. So, and helping amongst each other. Okay, Monica is the one who is excessively neat and organized, the older sister of the group. Okay, she works as a chef also. Number 2, Ross is a Monica's brother who is a paleontologist and lifelong has crush on Rachel. The 3rd one, Rachel, is a pretty bubbly girl who spends most of her life as a spoiled rich princess. The 4th one, Chandler, is Ross's college buddy, a guy who will crack jokes at a moment's notice. And the last, Phoebe, she is a lovable, eccentric girl who works at massage parlor, and Joy, a friend who has inverse relationship between his good looks and his intelligence. So these are the 6 people who forms the band of Friends, and this series ran from 1994 to 2004 for 10 years. So the series opens with a runaway bride, Rachel, who has just abandoned her fiancé, and having no place to stay in New York City, she manages to locate Monica, who used to be her school friend. Okay, and as Rachel, as we said, daddy's girl, she was very got used to wealthy expenses, but when she lands up in a new city, she had to work as a waitress at a coffee shop called Central Park. Although she has no skills, but her manager Gunther, because of him, she never gets fired and manages herself. Okay, Monica, as we already know, works as a chef, and then she owns her own apartment. She's good at her job, but she has men-related problems in her personal life. She has some psychological problems, including an obsession with cleanliness, and also frequent signs of OCD, obsessive compulsive behavior. Okay, her brother Ross Geller, he's a paleontologist. Okay, who recovers from the abrupt end of his first marriage, and his wife Carol, who turns out to be a lesbian, and she moves out with her lover Susan. Okay, Ross tries to be a good parent but he never gets the custody of his son. Okay, and Ross impulsively marries another couple of girls and has two more divorces, and that gets his self-esteem completely down. Although he had inflated ego, and so with all these mishaps with him. Okay, and the 4th one, Chandler Bing. He's a lifelong friend of Ross. He works as a statistical analyst at a company, but he resents his job, although it pays him very well. He works as a statistician in a big multinational company. The 5th member is Joy Tribbiani. So that Joy Tribbiani starts with as a Chandler's roommate, and they both have very close relationship with each other. So, and Joy is quite charming and a ladies' man. He typically picks up dates and has more frequently sex with his girlfriends. But he has not very much serious relationships, of course. But he demonstrates a very protective streak amongst all the friends. And he acts as a surrogate brother to his friends. Okay? And the 6th member is Phoebe Buffay. Phoebe Buffay was also Monica's former roommate. She works at a massage parlor, as I already mentioned, but she is also a self-taught folk musician. As her mother committed suicide, Phoebe, when she was 14 years old, so she had fended herself from ever since, and distanced herself from the worldly petty things, and she used to be a criminal also. She did crimes as a street kid during her school day. Younger days, and then she turns. She completely changes and becomes a pacifist, vegetarian, and a tree hugger. Okay, and she never believes in the theory of evolution. And she has, of course, she is very fluent in French and Italian, although she is not very highly educated. Okay, and there are some more subplots involving Phoebe's twin sister called Ursula, and that she had, for some unknown reason, she has very dislikes towards Phoebe. So there was another this thing, and she had also a brother who also hates her, and who also depends upon her only for survival. So that's her struggle and amongst all these six friends. There is a lot of funny moments, and there's a lot of learning lessons. So 10 years series, it was a very long series. It has it's bit of message, but underlying message only. But outside it, so it was a very funny and excellent series. Designated Survivor. Tom Kirkman is somewhat reluctant politician and is being appointed as U.S. President by the U.S. President Richmond to be a low-level cabinet member, and due to his idealism in academic work. But that idealism leads to a fallout between these two, the president and Tom. And Tom was actually on the verge of being demoted, but has been appointed as a designated survivor. Well, there is a tradition in the, I don't know, secret tradition in U.S. That if something happens to the president or the top officials, there will be one member of the Congress or a member who will be designated as a designated survivor, and he will be called in the cases of some terrorist or bomb attacks. And that's what exactly happens. So the Tom, who was appointed as a designated survivor, is thrust into a full-fledged politician when all the rest of the cabinet, including the president, was killed in a bomb attack. Okay, during the union address. Okay, so leaving the Tom the presidency to assume the U.S. presidency. Taking into account his family, who also did not sign up for such a political life, Tom has to decide what to do about it, his family as well as the country. Okay, as a president of United States, Tom has to decide as to how his idealism, whether it has any place in the role of a president. And oppositely, conversely, the public actually has their own thought of Tom as a non-elected president. Must not be having a political will or mandate of the people, political mandate of the people. So as the time goes on, Tom has Tom's thoughts about how to bring about a change, what may change, which becomes all the more important when re-election comes out if he survives that long in the position as a president, and whether he and the public will want him to have a second term. All this while he has to restore this public confidence, as well as to find out who the bomb attackers were, or whether there was any foreign hand outside of the US, any other country has any hand in that. And so in collaboration with the secret service agents like CIA and other FBI, he has to do the job of both maintaining the country politically, as well as to in coalition with the FBI and other secret service agents. He has to deal with external wars also at the time that were coming up in the world. So so it was a very good political thriller. So those who have interest in political powers, and then current days how the world works, then that's Designated Survivor is for you. Okay, the next web series we're talking about is Kim's Convenience. Okay, Kim's Convenience tells the story of a funny and heartfelt Kim's family, Mr. and Mrs. Kim. They are Korean Canadians, the people who have immigrated from Korea, the first generation from Korea, and that Canadian convenience store in Canada. They are the store owners, and they worked hard to bring up that big store, and then they struggle work. They daily work for they put up a hard work to bring up their family, and they have two children, Janet and Jung, to give them a better life in Canada. So that's what this the whole story is about. Like the the Kims are the first generation, so they operate a convenience store in the inner city of this Toronto, and they like to believe that they are modern, but and they have fully integrated into the Canadian life, but which is actually not so from the other point of view. From the others, like other Canadians, when they look at their life, they believe that they have a traditional Korean sensibilities. Okay, so amongst those who view them as most of the customers and others who view them as Canadian, the two of the children, they are Canadian born, the young adults, Jung and Janet. Jung actually leaves home at the age of 16 with an argument with his father. A father is known as Appa. That's the word for father in Korean. So, and also I think in India we also call Appa, right, father. And so that this guy Janet Jung, who enters into his juvenile life, he goes out of house and then leads a life of delinquency, and he has not been home for quite a lot of time. But his mother is called Uma, and sister Janet, they both keeps in touch with him without the father's knowledge. Okay, so what the Appa does not know is that Jung is actually in touch with the parents, and then but Appa because he lost one son, so he keeps over parenting the daughter that he has, Janet, who is at her in his home, and because of her over parenting, and she has again some of her dreams to become a good college, photography. So she gets funding from her mother and then brother for her photography course, whereas the Appa actually wants her to be get married to a good nice Christian Korean and boyfriend. She has a boyfriend, and that Korean boyfriend, that's what Mr. Kim wants her to get married and then lead a good life. But she has her own dreams. So this is how the entire Kim's convenience, which is a very comedy and struggle of the first generation of the immigrants and the second generation's youth, the Canadian born people or the American. So these struggles between the first generation, second generation, and the fun generated with it. Okay, that's about Kim's Convenience. So the next series is Asian Startup series. Startup. The web series name is Startup. It's set in the midst of a Korean Silicon Valley called a Sandbox, and it tells about the story of a woman who is trying to begin her own startup company, and a man who's struggling to start again like a startup company, and they both come together to achieve their dreams. And CEO Dalmi, she is a bright, outgoing, and wants to succeed with her own company. And a boy from a childhood inspired her through some letters and got through some very difficult times. She's excited to see and get to meet him as an adult. But the problem is that the man that she meets didn't actually write the letters. The man who she meets is Namdo-san. That he's also very smart but awkward, but he's running a struggling startup company. A series of events actually leads Dalmi to believe that Namdo-san wrote the letters to her, and thereby she falls in love with her, she falls for him, and then but Namdo-san also falls for her, and they both have worked together to succeed actually. But then we have the next guy who is Han Ji Pyong. He is an orphan child, but he works through his hard work to become a very successful businessman. And in the world of startups, he's a very top man. Okay, and Dalmi also has a sister called Inji, and the two actually got separated when they were young, and she became very wealthy. Inji becomes very wealthy, and but because of her some of the way in which she gets to the wealthy, she just distances herself from the father company and then starts her own company again. And the grandmother, Choi Won Deok, she is the one who raises Dalmi, and Dalmi actually gets very close. I mean, she gets very obviously very emotional, just like father, because she doesn't have mother. So grandmother is the one who raises her, and during difficult times, actually the grandmother asks Ji Pyung to write the letters to her. Actually, that's how Ji Pyung is the one who writes letter, but Dosan is the one who she meets as if he writes the letters, and so there was a triangle story set up between Dalmi and Dosan and Ji Pyong. Okay, so the love triangle gets a very because of the lie surrounding the who wrote the love letters to her when she was childhood. Okay, so this opens the door for the main romance between Dalmi and Dosan, as she believes that Dosan is the one who writes the letters. Okay, he also gets roped into the lie because quickly as he falls for the such a beautiful girl and hardworking, good at heart as well as outside also. She is such a beautiful personality that Dosan falls in love for her. So this is actually a very, very sweet love story with a lot of up and downs, and a hero. The Dosan also is a very adorable, and he develops feelings for her, and as they progress throughout the relationships, there's a lot of heart-fluttering moments actually, as well as there's a care and the support between the two, and that makes them a very good couple, as well as business partners, because the startup company, they both work together, and that's where they come together actually. Okay, Dosan also is an interesting character. He's incredibly smart but suffers from a lack of self-confidence and guilt. He was such a sweet and kind man, but it's very hard to watch him suffer because of that guilt that he didn't write letters, but she thinks that he wrote the letters. He fought against all odds to try and succeed in his career and be there always. He is there sincerely. He supports Dalmi. Okay, and the duo goes through a lot of incredible highs as well as lows of the lows, and watching them through all these challenges, it's those challenges because of their careers and personal lives, it's very, very both heartful as well as heartbreaking, joyous as well as sorrow. So there's this upheaval of our emotions is what makes this series very, very fantastic, and how these two people they raise to occasions and challenges, and that makes us inspiring. So I would suggest all of you youth to watch this, because you have both career as well as love in both says. This series is for those who are in who are in their youth, teenage, just budding career. For those people, you will love that. You will love this series a lot. We'll now talk about The Good Doctor. Sean Murphy, a young surgeon with autism, and it's called servant syndrome. He's recruited as in the surgical unit as a surgeon in a prestigious hospital, and as a young surgeon, but with autism, he relocates from a quiet country life to join this prestigious hospital, and alone in the world and unable to personally connect with those who are around with him. He struggles, and this series is all about the extraordinary medical gifts that he has, a photographic memory and extraordinary brain he has. But despite of all this, he has to face the skepticism from his colleagues, from his other people around, and in the medical field. So those who are in medical field, those who want to see the hospital, the way in which the operations are done, how the severe cases are taken care of or dealt with by the surgeons, all these things are there, intricacies. But those who are not very good with blood, because of the surgery, they see all the blood and then cuttings, they're all shown. So those people who are not so much averse with that, you can avoid. Otherwise, those who are in medical field, those who are interested to know about how the surgeries happen, and for different situations, how doctors, how they deal with it, this is a good series, The Good Doctor. It is a Korean series, I suppose, and it's very good, and it's there available on the Netflix. Thank you. The next series we're talking about is Two and a Half Men. Okay, there are the Harper brothers, Charlie and Alan. They both are brothers, but they almost are opposites to each other, but they form a great team. They have very little in common except that they dislike for their mundane, maternally domineering mother called Evelyn. And his Charlie is the main protagonist, main hero of our series, and his brother Alan, a compulsively neat chiropractor actually, and a control freak. And he's thrown out of his own house by his manipulative wife Judith. She gets him to pay for everything, and also gets him to do a lot of jobs in the house. But but they get separated, he and his wife, and they have a beautiful young son, and he's called Jake. Charlie is a freelance jungler and a gambler, irresistible Casanova, who lives in a luxurious beach house, and because he gets a lot of money because of his jingle composer, those are the ones who compose songs kind of, and for ads, music for the ads like that. So he gets a lot of money, and he leads a very rich life. But he rarely gets up before noon in the morning, in the afternoon. So and he temporarily allows Alan and his son Jake. The Jake is a food obsessed, lazy kid who shuttles between his parents because Judith and his father Alan, and this Charlie allows both the son and his brother and his brother's son till they get some kind of settlement with his wife. But Alan ultimately gets separated with Judith, and this comedy revolves around the conflicting lifestyles, and also raising that kid Jake, who has an efficient and caring dad, but and also a fun-loving uncle who teaches him the boyish things. But they have struggling relationships with the wife and all. And because of the bantering from the mother Evelyn, and also bantering that they get from various friends and family, this is all the struggle that they show. The fairly regular characters includes this Charlie's wife, Charlie's cleaning lady called Betta, and there is a rich self-confessed stalker who stalks Charlie and who spies on Charlie. Her name is Rose. She is actually the heroine of this series. Okay, and how things evolve and what happens, that I leave you for watching yourself. Watch it; it's fun, and a lot of boys things on this series. Okay, 2.5 Men. Okay, it's called Suits. It's about a brilliant lawyer, and there is a young brilliant Mike Cross who just slips into a job interview and somehow gets it, despite of the fact that the company for which he is being hired by Harvey Specter only hires Harvard grads. But somehow this guy who doesn't even go to Harvard somehow manages to get the job because of his photographic memory. And so the entire story revolves around how he manages as a lawyer, as a practicing lawyer in US in such a very big city, and gets along. And he has a very soft corner for people with sympathy for downtrodden and really suffering clients. And despite of the fact that they are in corporate cutthroat competition, still this Mycross manages, and he has a love in a girl called Rachel. So he has his both love life as well as to deal with his hard taskmaster boss called Harvey Specter, who is a cold-blooded, emotionless, and very critical. Although he has a very soft point when it comes to his past. He had his mother doing some, having some other illicit relationships, and he has to deal with his mother. And from childhood, he has been having that attitude of killing spirit, and that helps him becoming a successful person as a lawyer. And this web series is very, very, very shrewd and fantastic. And I suggest for all those who are good at the worldly things, and how the world works, and that too in a top class corporate world in Manhattan City. Okay, as we discussed earlier about the Big Bang Theory, there is the protagonist, main protagonist in that is Sheldon Cooper, and the Sheldon Cooper, his younger version is this Young Sheldon web series is available on Prime Video. It's not available on Netflix, but this is what is a prequel to Big Bang Theory. So the Big Bang Theory was such a successful web series, so they went on for a new series, which is right now going on. I think fourth or fifth series is going on the Amazon Prime Video. So this is the younger version of the Sheldon Cooper. So it talks about how that intelligent scientific Sheldon Cooper, how he was molded into. So that's what is okay. So thank you very much for your kind listening and viewing. Please subscribe to my channel Movie Clips. Thank you.